You know that moment when you're brushing your teeth in the morning and suddenly their face pops into your head out of nowhere? Or you're in the middle of cooking dinner and you catch yourself smiling because you remembered something they said 3 days ago? Or maybe you're lying in bed at night, scrolling through your phone, and you realize you've been replaying the same conversation with them over and over for the past 20 minutes without even noticing. Yeah, that moment when you suddenly stop and think, wait, why am I thinking about this person again? If this is happening to you right now, if there's someone who keeps showing up in your thoughts like an uninvited guest who somehow makes you feel comfortable, then you need to hear what I'm about to tell you, because something deeper is happening in your mind and heart than you realize. When thinking about someone becomes a habit, when their presence in your thoughts feels as natural as breathing, three very specific psychological and emotional shifts are taking place inside you, and understanding these three things might completely change how you see this person, and more importantly, how you see yourself. So let's dive into what's really going on beneath the surface. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to have some serious clarity. The first thing that's happening when thinking about someone becomes your habit is this. Your brain has created what psychologists call an emotional anchor around this person. And what that means is your mind has started associating them with specific feelings of comfort, safety, or excitement that you're subconsciously seeking out. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Our brains are wired to repeat patterns that bring us emotional rewards. It's just how we're built. And when you think about someone and it makes you feel good, even for a moment, your brain goes, "Oh, we like this feeling. Let's do it again." And boom, a mental habit is born. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is the part that might blow your mind a little. This person has essentially become a mental safe space for you, a psychological comfort zone that your mind escapes to when reality feels overwhelming, boring, or stressful. Think about it. When do you find yourself thinking about them the most? It's usually when you're alone, when you're doing something mundane, or when you're feeling a certain type of way emotionally, right? That's because your brain has learned that thinking about this person gives you a hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical. And just like scrolling social media or eating your favorite snack, your mind starts craving that feeling and automatically pulls up thoughts of them to get it. Now, before you start panicking and thinking this means you're obsessed or something wrong with you, hold on, because this is actually a completely natural human response. But, and here's the twist you need to pay attention to, the question you should be asking yourself is not, why am I thinking about them, but rather, what emotional need is this fulfilling in my life right now? Because if thinking about someone is your escape, your emotional crutch, or your way of avoiding something else you don't want to face, then that's a signal worth exploring. Are you thinking about them because they genuinely add value to your life, or because thinking about them helps you avoid dealing with your own emotions, loneliness, or unresolved issues? That distinction is everything, and most people never stop to ask themselves that question, but you're here, so you're already ahead of the game. Now, let's talk about the second thing that's happening, and this one's a little sneaky because most people don't even realize it's going on. When thinking about someone becomes your habit, your sense of identity starts to subtly shift, and you begin to define parts of yourself in relation to this person, even if you don't mean to. Let me explain what I mean by that. When someone occupies a significant amount of space in your mind, your thoughts start to naturally include them in your future plans, your daily decisions, and even in how you see yourself. You might catch yourself thinking things like, I wonder if they'd like this song, or I should tell them about this later, or even, I hope they're proud of me. And while these thoughts seem innocent, what's actually happening is your brain is weaving this person into the fabric of your identity. You start to see yourself through the lens of how they might see you. And that's when things get a little complicated, because when your sense of self becomes too intertwined with someone else, you risk losing touch with who you are independently. And here's the kicker. This doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. It can happen with friends, family members, mentors, or anyone who holds emotional weight in your life. The more you think about them, the more your brain starts to create this imaginary version of your life where they play a starring role, and you begin making choices based on what you think they would want, like, or approve of, sometimes without even realizing you're doing it. Now, I'm not saying this is always a bad thing, because caring about someone's opinion and wanting to make them happy is a beautiful part of being human. But here's where you need to be careful. If your thoughts about them are stronger than your thoughts about your own goals, dreams, and values, that's when you need to pump the brakes and ask yourself some real questions. Are you building your life around the idea of this person, or are you building your life and inviting them to be a part of it? Because there's a massive difference between those two things, and one leads to growth and healthy connection, while the other leads to dependency and losing yourself. So if you've been thinking about someone constantly, take a moment to check in with yourself. Are you still pursuing your own passions, taking care of your own needs, and nurturing your own identity? Or has this person become the center of your emotional universe? If it's the latter, it might be time to gently redirect some of that mental energy back towards yourself, because the healthiest relationships, whether romantic or platonic, are the ones where both people are whole on their own and come together to enhance each other's lives, not complete them. And now we get to the third thing, and honestly, this is the one that most people avoid talking about because it's uncomfortable, but it's also the most important. When thinking about someone becomes your habit, it often means you're emotionally investing in them at a level that may or may not be reciprocated, and that imbalance can quietly drain your energy and set you up for disappointment if you're not careful. Let's be real for a second. If you're spending hours a day thinking about someone, replaying conversations, imagining scenarios, wondering what they're doing, and feeling emotionally connected to them, you're essentially giving them a huge portion of your mental and emotional bandwidth. And the hard truth is, they might not even know it, or they might not be doing the same for you. This is where a lot of people get stuck in painful situations, because in your mind, this person has become incredibly significant, but in their mind, you might just be a casual friend, a coworker, or someone they enjoy talking to occasionally. And that gap between your internal reality and the actual reality of the relationship can lead to heartbreak, frustration, and confusion. And here's what makes this even trickier. Because you're thinking about them so much, you start to build up expectations. You expect them to text you back quickly, to prioritize you, to notice when something's wrong, to care about the little things the way you care about them. And when they don't meet those expectations, you feel hurt, even though they never agreed to any of it in the first place. This is what I call the invisible contract, where you've mentally assigned someone a role in your life without ever having a real conversation about what your relationship actually is. So here's what you need to do, and I know it's scary, but it's necessary. You need to get honest with yourself about where this person actually stands in your life versus where you want them to stand. Are they actively investing in you, showing up for you, making time for you, and demonstrating through their actions that you matter to them? Or are you doing all the heavy lifting emotionally while they're just casually existing in your world? Because if it's the second one, then you're not building a connection, you're building a fantasy, and fantasies, no matter how beautiful they feel in your head, will eventually crumble when they hit the reality of unmet expectations. And listen, I'm not saying this to be harsh or to make you feel bad. I'm saying this because you deserve relationships where the energy flows both ways, where you're not the only one thinking, wondering, and caring. You deserve people who think about you too, who check in on you, who make an effort, and who show up consistently. And if the person you can't stop thinking about isn't doing that, then maybe it's time to redirect that mental energy towards someone or something that actually enriches your life, instead of just occupying space in your head. So let's bring this all together, because here's the bottom line. If thinking about someone has become your habit, it's not random, it's not meaningless, and it's definitely not something to ignore. It's your mind and heart trying to tell you something important. Maybe it's telling you that this person genuinely matters to you and could be someone worth pursuing a deeper connection with. Or maybe it's telling you that you're using thoughts of them as an emotional crutch to avoid dealing with your own feelings of loneliness, dissatisfaction, or fear of being alone. Maybe it's telling you that you've lost touch with your own identity and need to reconnect with who you are outside of anyone else. Or maybe it's telling you that you're investing way too much energy into someone who isn't investing back, and it's time to protect your peace and redirect your focus. Because here's the thing, your thoughts are powerful. They shape your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately your entire life. So if someone has become a habit in your mind, make sure it's a habit that's actually serving you, lifting you up, and adding genuine value to your life, not just filling a void or feeding a fantasy. You have the power to take control of your thoughts, to set healthy boundaries, and to build a life where you're the main character, not just a supporting role in someone else's story. So take that power back,
Honor yourself and remember that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself, and everything else, including who you choose to think about, should flow from that foundation of self-love, self-respect, and self-awareness. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. And remember, this is just general guidance for self-reflection and personal growth, not professional advice. But hopefully, it gave you something valuable to think about, and maybe, just maybe, it helped you see your situation a little more clearly.